The Mobile County Public Schools presents Homeroom.
Hi, and welcome to Homeroom, where we introduce you to the educators and the students who make Mobile County Public Schools the best school system in Alabama. I'm your host, Renee Phillips, and today we're going to be talking about a subject that's on everybody's mind, and that's school safety. In Mobile County Public Schools, we have a team of resource officers, and we use a lot of technology to keep our kids safe, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So joining me, I have David Ackridge and Tracy Mathis, and they work in our Information Technology Division, and they have a really cool program that they've enacted at Davidson High School, a one-of-a-kind, state-of-the-art security system. So tell me about it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, we've had a chance as a group to look at some different things that we could do to put a system together, and we built this from the ground up. It involves a lot of, it's very, very technology sensitive. It has lots of different technologies in it. It utilizes all of the things that we've had in place for years and allows us to all pull together with touch of a button kind of security. And we think it's groundbreaking. Tracy Mathis had a tremendous amount to do with developing that from the ground up. Came from her mind, and she helped make that reality today as we went from Davidson.
Well, I think the reality is when you have a principal that has so many responsibilities to do in the case of an emergency. They're responsible for so much, their faculty, their staff, getting to the incident, whatever's happening in their school. And if there is something really emergency situation, all the notifications, I mean, you have to dial 911, you have to alert the media, you have to alert the parents. There's so much that has to be done. Using technology to help facilitate, to get that message out to the appropriate people can only help in a situation for, lessen the incident where how many, kids are harmed or, our faculty's harmed. So technology is, can be used to facilitate that is a great idea.
And this is a collaboration that the school system has with the City of Mobile and the Mobile Police Department, and it was a grant that we applied for with the city. So tell me about the grant.
Yeah, we were very proud of that. It's a COPS grant, and we've received this grant about 10 years ago, and we applied for it again with the mayor's group, helped us put that together, their grant writers. And it was a grant for $400,000 for us to come in. They saw our proposals, our draw-ups, our sketches, all of the things that we had, and they were impressed. It was one of those deals where if this works, it was a new concept, so we didn't know if it was going to work or not. We had some tremendous hopes that it would, and was able to put that through and was notified in, I think it was last October, so it's been about a year ago. But we were excited and so thankful to the city for how they worked with us on that.
Because we have a great relationship with them, and the city applied, and then the school system added some matching funds. And I know we have some video, because this is one of the things you really have to see how it works to understand it. And so we did hold an open house and this is the video that we're showing right now at Davidson. So can you explain what the system does?
So right now, what you're seeing is we had to totally recable Davidson High School, and this is our planning board as far as where the technology was going to be located in the school. Those are our switches that had to be upgraded and all the cabling that had to be run in the school. There were lights installed in the hallways, and David can tell you more about the lights.
Those gentlemen there are running the cabling for the lighting system that was put in the ceiling, and so you'll see those come up. They're 2x2 drop-ins that are LED, and so they actually change colors. We have 7 or 8 different color combinations ranging from yellow to red to green, and those systems will alert for different types of situations that happen in the school, anywhere from just a minor incident or minor situation up to an intruder in the school.
And these are colors the students know, the teachers know, if it's red or if it's orange or if it's yellow.
Yes.
It could be a tornado, it could be a fire or an intruder. And then what happens to the locks in the doors?
So once the appropriate button is pressed, for instance, a lockdown, all the doors will lock in the school to keep maybe it's someone from the outside trying to get in the school. We're trying to keep them from penetrating into the school, so the doors will automatically lock. The bells will not ring. Let's just say a lot of times incidents happen right before, a couple of minutes before the bell's going to ring, so you'll have, hundreds of students in the halls. Well, that's the worst thing you want to happen. So when you engage a code red, lockdown, or on hold, or any of the other colors, it actually automatically engages the doors to lock, the lights to turn a certain color. Of course, there's an audible sound that goes across the school that lets them know what code we're in, so that the teachers, they've all been trained. They know what to do when it's code yellow, code red. You mentioned, bad weather. I mean, we're notorious for having bad weather here, and then if you have students out in the, on the football field, or they need to know that they got to get back into the building. So it's a system that's not only for security, but just just running the school in general.
Day to day, and I think one of the coolest things about it is that it will notify law enforcement if necessary. So it takes that step out.
That's
right?
exactly right. As soon as you that is in the code red, whether it's a lockdown or evacuate, 911 is automatically called, and we also have over 700 police officers that will be receiving a text message, an email letting them know what's going on at Davison High School.
And then there's a notification button that the teachers can use if something's going on, right?
Yes.
And I think probably the most unique function to this system is our gun detection system, a shot detection system that's inside the actual program. It's programmed into the system to read. So if a gunshot goes off inside the school, it triangulates where that system is, where the gunshot has been detected, and it takes a picture. And it really, I've seen it work several times, and it's amazing to me. And I know most people will say, how is that, can I slap two boards together or do anything like that? It's actually, the shots were done by the Mobile Police Department, and they're tuned to that frequency. So we will actually know if, and I hope that never happens, but in that situation, we would know exactly where the shot was fired in the school.
And we did this at Davidson as a pilot project, partly because it's located within the city of Mobile. It's an older building. We had to make sure everything works. Are there plans to expand this? I know money's an issue, correct?
Yes, we are right now working on incorporating Denton Middle School. Right now, because they share the same campus. So whatever happens at Davison can possibly happen at Denton too. So we're getting ready to incorporate Denton. But we're going to keep pushing, trying to get money, grants, the state to look at us as a security system that's worth funding.
Well, I think that once they see it, hopefully they will know it, because it really is a unique system. But thank you so much for the work that you've done. We have to break for commercial, but when we come back, we'll talk about some of the other measures that Mobile County Public Schools is taking to keep your children safe. So stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Helena Tyler. I would like to invite you to join me for Inside Education. Come with us as we take a look at what's happening around Mobile County Public Schools, as well as what's happening in your child's classroom. That's Inside Education, right here on the MCPSS TV network.
When it comes to getting your child through school, at times it can be overwhelming.
What school to choose, what classes to take, how to apply for college.
To help answer these questions and more, we would like to invite you to join us on Parent Connect as we take an in-depth look at some of the issues and concerns you may have about your child's education.
So get connected with Parent Connect, weekly right here on the MCPSS TV network.
Welcome back to Homeroom. Today we're talking about the many ways that Mobile County Public Schools keeps our children safe. And I have David Ackridge returning from the break, and also Andy Gatewood, who is in charge of our security division here at MCPSS. And I know we're talking about a lot of the technology that we use, but one thing that's so important is that you have resource officers out in the schools forming relationships with students. So tell us what that's about.
Absolutely. I have 12 resource officers. There's one assigned to each high school and the feeder schools to that school. And, they just do a phenomenal job of developing relationships and gleaning information. Our department historically has been a boots on the ground type, getting inside, and we still perform that way, get inside the schools and develop relationships not only with the students, but the staff, teachers, principals, But we also know that, as you've heard me say, school security and security in general is a living thing. We have to move forward and keep up with the times. And we are very fortunate in Mobile County Public Schools to have an IT department, in every department for that matter, that's willing to work with us in whatever it takes to make sure that our ultimate goal, which is the safety and security of all students and staff members, and visitors for that matter, to and make sure that we have whatever we need to make sure we achieve that goal. And there's so many new things with regard to technology that we're able to use, and again, the partnership with the IT department, the City of Mobile, and other jurisdictions that allow us to do everything that we can to make sure that we promote the safety.
We talked about the Davidson project. That's been a collaboration between law enforcement, the city, our security division, and IT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does it help you think about everything and to troubleshoot and to?
Well, we're
build
learning
ideas?
from our world in IT. It's easy for us to look at door locks and cameras and all those things from an IT perspective, but we're learning the boots on the ground side of what they have to do and what they deal with. And the things that we put in at Davidson, we also had to learn what are procedures for how police officers come into a building, and all that had to fit into the technology part of it. So yeah, it was definitely a collaboration with Mobile Police Department and Andy's team to help us understand exactly how that works.
And so many of our programs are a collaboration. I know the Raptor system is something that we have in our schools. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is a kiosk at every school, and when parents, when visitors, even contractors, which I think is one of the biggest things, when they come in, they scan their driver's license. This does an immediate background check. It's amazing the database that this company has comprised, and we know immediately what types of people we're allowing in the schools, and if there's any type of restraining orders, any type of past problems that this suspect or this person contract coming in may have had, and it's helped us quite a bit.
Or even a custody issue, right? If the wrong parent is
absolutely.
trying to pick, or someone else who shouldn't be picking up the student. And I think that makes the person at the front door feel safer, and it should make the parents feel safer too, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, alerts can be added into the system to say don't allow this person to pick up this child or whatever. Again, in a custody type issue or something like that. So sure, any level. In my opinion, it's all about levels, and any levels that we can get to. We want the good guys on the inside and the bad guys on the outside. So figuratively and literally. So anything that we can put up to, any barriers that we can put up to make sure that we do just that, keep the bad guys out, is what we're going to do.
And another thing that we have in place, students are online, they're on social media, even though they're not supposed to be at school, but when they're online, and you can monitor what they're doing, right?
Absolutely. We have contracted for several years with a company called Slate XP that has a product called Learn Safe, and we actually love it. We, student internet and activity can be monitored through keystrokes and even through, and it's amazing the technology, even through images on a screen. If there's anything that appears to be dangerous or life-threatening, or if they're talking about different subject matter, there's an extensive database that this company has created with terms and different things that will alert the administrators and the resource officers to anytime a child or a student is searching, doing any particular Google search or computer search that is inappropriate, then it flags it, saves it, and alerts us to it.
And several other things about this program is the fact that one of the things is we're talking about school system equipment. We can't monitor their own personal phones, but if they're on our computers in the libraries or in the testing areas, one of the things is even if the computer's offline, if you type something, do something in there, it takes a screenshot, holds it until the computer's back online. And we have this on teacher machines, employees machines. Yeah, it's everywhere. And even in the scanning that Andy talked about, the image scan, it can even determine in analyzing a picture how clothed someone is. It's amazing. It's amazing technology, and it works.
And if someone types in something they shouldn't type in, how quickly can we respond?
It's sometimes within minutes if we need to. We've actually had situations where someone has typed something threatening, and we were able to alert Andy's team, and they were able to get to the school and have that person before they got up out of the lab and left. We were able to see them in the seat. So it shocks the kids
Surprise.
sometimes, right? It really does.
Yeah.
And actually the folks, the folks who own the product, the company folks, they monitor it fairly closely, and I get calls, sometimes and say, hey, you may want to check out this post that we found. So, and it's absolutely a collaborative effort, and we've made some cases, several cases with regard to things that were that we gleaned from the Learn Safe product.
Because we want our equipment in the school to be used for its proper use, and that's adults, employees down to our students. You're issued equipment or able to use it, you need to use it according to the policy, and this just keeps everybody honest in what they're supposed to be doing.
And our job as a school system and as educators is to teach them how to be good citizens online.
That's right.
So what do we say to kids about what they should and shouldn't be doing on the internet, on social media?
Well, our department has in the past worked closely with instructional technology to put out what we call being a good digital citizen. You have to be one who, we for years have taught children how to be a good citizen in society. Well, you have to do the same thing now in a cyber world. You have to be careful how you act, what you post. Just because you're behind a keyboard and in your own home doesn't mean that you have liberties to do everything. And what you have and what you do is tracked forever. And so, we have to start at a very, very young age in teaching children that.
Absolutely, I completely agree. Like I said, just as we've discovered in security that we have to change with the times. We have to teach the children because we are much, even from the time that I was in school, we are much. The advancements that have been made in technology are just unbelievable. So we have to make sure that the kids understand not only the great parts about technology, but the dangers as well. And we work very closely. Mobile Police Department has a unit that we work very closely with that helps us to monitor any kind of cyber issues or threats or things like that may come up, and they just do a fantastic job. And it's all about those kinds of partnerships that allow us to do what we need to do.
Because just like with the Davidson Project,
Absolutely.
we have to partner with each other and then with parents, right? And parents are an important component to this as well.
Without question, absolutely.
Yeah, they are definitely a spoke in the wheel and probably a major part because, we have them during the day, but when they're home, that same digital citizenship needs to carry through when they're at home. And that's going to have to be parents that's going to have to be involved in doing that.
Any advice for parents?
Just know what your children are doing. I mean, we've taken several times, we've worked with our parenting group here in the school system and gone out to several PTA meetings, and we tell them, when you have a cell phone and you give it to a student, even a young child, they have unfettered access to the internet. Most people don't have filters on it, and you just need to be careful. You're understanding what you're giving out.
Be careful, students, adults, everyone.
That's right.
Well, we have to break for commercial, but when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to some of our Mobile's finest, the Mobile Police Department's Cyber Division, who works closely with us on online safety for our kids.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS Athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
Hello, my name is Kyla Brown and I am redefining ready. I'm taking AP and dual enrollment courses that will help me earn college credits while in high school. I am studying dental science that will assist me in my career choice of becoming a dentist. I am a Student Government Association representative and actively involved in other activities around my school and community. And this is how I am redefining ready.
Welcome back to Homeroom. Today we've been learning about some of the security measures that Mobile County Public Schools takes to keep our children safe. And that wouldn't be possible without the cooperation that we have with the City of Mobile. And joining us today I have officers with the Cyber Division of the Mobile Police Department. I have Commander Kevin Levy, Officer Andre King, and Cyber Technician Jeremiah Moody. You have the coolest title, by the way. So what is it that you guys do?
Well, from the city perspective, we work in collaboration with a lot of different partners on the cyber forefront, if you will, combating crimes that are being utilized through new and emerging technology, but the same old traditional crime. And part of that is helping to keep families and students and children safe, even faculty members and administrators at the schools, all who could become victim not only at home, but also in a whole other environment, which is the school, because of the use of technology.
Mm-hmm. So it's this online world that we have through social media. And it can be dangerous, can't it?
Yeah, one of the analogies that we often use is, would you let your child go to the mall by themselves at a young age? And most people, most predominantly, would say no. But yet, a lot of times we're more relaxed when we let them enter into the World Wide Web on their own, even from our own home, because we feel safe, inside the four corners and the four walls of our house. But really, the dangers are far greater if you don't monitor their activity and look into what they're doing. And a lot of what we spend our time doing is solving cases, but we really enjoy the ability to go out ahead of time and prevent those things from happening. And so a big part of what we do is on information awareness and project building and partnership building with the schools and the school resource officers and the administrators, as well as other private sector businesses throughout the Gulf Coast.
Because we work closely with you in our security division, or a principal of school, someone gets word that there's been a threat made toward a student or a school, you're our first call. And so what does that look like from an investigation standpoint? Like, how are you able to find people? Because most of the time we do find the person, don't we?
Yeah, and Andre may be able to offer you a different perspective. He's one of the investigators that works often on the forefront of that, and maybe can share a little bit of his experiences.
Yeah, so basically it just depends what kind of platform it is. If it's such as Facebook, Instagram, we will try to identify the threat. And sometimes you have to peel back the onion several times to find the identity of the user, because it has been shared so many times. And that's a trend with social media, to share screenshots. And basically we just got to peel back the onion and find the original owner of the threat.
Mm-hmm. But pretty much if they post it, you can figure out where the post came from.
Essentially, yes. That's our goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's our goal.
And that's one thing that we're always telling our students and our adults. If you post it, they will find you, and there are consequences. I know one thing that can happen is someone can be charged with making a terroristic threat, and that's a felony.
Yes, it's a
felony. So nobody wants that, right?
No.
So how do we avoid making these threats, or what are we out there doing to try to stop it?
I think there's two really important points that we would like to drive home when it comes to that. The very first and foremost is, when you make a threat online, you oftentimes find yourself saying something or doing something that you wouldn't do in person. And so the first real rule of thumb is, hey, if it's something that you wouldn't say to a person or do to a person, why are you going to do it on a computer? Don't feel safer there, because you're actually causing a wider degree of panic. And that really leads to the second point, which is the internet is so fast and information travels so quickly, and everybody's so readily available to their phone and their iPad and whatever other device they're using to get this information, that once you put it out there, you can't get it back. And if you make a threat and later decide, hey, I didn't really mean it, or I didn't really want to send it, law enforcement's still going to investigate. You're still going to suffer the consequences. And how many hundreds, if not thousands of people will have viewed that and who may personally feel threatened? And that's really the test that the government's using. It's a zero tolerance when it comes to making a school threat. Why? Because watch the news. How do we know which one's real and which one's not? So we will investigate every single one of them. We will identify every single perpetrator. And our really primary goal is to prevent an attack or to prevent something that could be a threat from ever making it to the school. And that's sort of the last resort. We want to get involved way off early. And what happens, unfortunately, is once it's posted, it travels so quickly. And so we always tell parents and students, hey, if you see something online and you feel like, hey, that's a threat, instead of forwarding it to someone else, just call law enforcement. Take a screenshot, save
Yes.
it, do whatever you can, and let us know. Let us get involved before it starts circulating and those people circulate. If every person sent it to 1 or 2 people, how many people have received it by the time law enforcement's notified? And we want to cut that number down.
And we've had cases too where someone shared it and then they've been charged because it was perceived that the way they shared it was that they were making a threat. So that's what we say, don't share it, right? Call the police, call your school, call someone and let them know that it's going on, right?
And I think, and Officer King may agree with this too. I think a lot of times it's not so much that they're remaking the threat as they're extending or causing future panic and harm and alarm. And so, if you send something, but you send something and you add a comment like "Don't go to school because of this," depending on how somebody perceives it, how that third person perceives it, there may or may not be charges. But even more than that, our really most important goal is to keep the offender from showing up at the school and to keep the kids who are just trying to go and learn, do what they're supposed to do at school, the teachers who are dedicating of themselves to educate these students, to keep them all safe.
And we always say if you see something, say something.
Correct.
So same thing with online, take a screen grab, send it to your principal, to law enforcement, right?
Correct.
Is that what you'd encourage them to do?
That's correct.
And what about parents? I know it's such a scary world right now and it's hard for parents to keep up with all the different social media that's out there. We know about Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but there's all these new ones. How do I keep up and how do I keep my kids safe?
I think the biggest thing is there's so many just different ways to monitor, whether that's allowing passwords to be shared with the parents or allowing, even if it's to the point and the parent themselves maybe have a platform that allows them to see what their kid is posting. I think the biggest thing is knowing that these threats are out there, that those things are out there, and the parents taking responsibility to put safeguards intact that allow them to monitor, hey, my kid's posting this. A lot of social media platforms now allow you to follow an individual that each time they post something, it sends you an alert saying, hey, so-and-so just posted a new status update. And so maybe the parents setting that parameters to where each time their kids post something, they also receive that. So they're just able to be more in the loop about what their kids are sharing, what their kids are posting, and allows them to stay more in the know as well.
I think that's great. So monitor what they're posting and don't be afraid to talk to them, right? And say, hey, this was not appropriate and maybe you need to do this instead. But then I've also heard that sometimes they'll have a dummy account that's not their real name. So do we have to watch for that too? Or?
Yes. And I think it really comes to accountability and a responsibility to see not just what the immediate effect is today or tomorrow, but what the long-term effect is. And an analogy that I've used in the past that kind of opened some eyes many times is, imagine if you had an envelope, and in that envelope you were storing everything about you for 5 years from now to get into a college, or maybe 5 years beyond that to get that dream job that you want, and you're about to get to interview, they're about to offer the job to you, and everything's perfect, and they tell you, yep, one last thing, let's look in the envelope and see what you've been doing online for the last 10 years. What's in your envelope is kind of a funny analogy, some commercials, but the reality of it is, what are we sending out there that other people have that we can't change and we can't alter, but it says about us? Maybe we're mad that day, maybe we think it's a joke, maybe there's some other thing else going on, but how someone else perceives it and what it says about us. And I said, don't let the internet identify who we are. Let our character identify who we are. And so we need to start training at a younger age to realize that there's long-term accountability effects. We're not invincible, and that many jobs, many corporations now, many schools are looking at your social identity online and seeing what you're up to, and making decisions about who they want to be good citizens on their campus versus not allow in. And these are tough decisions these days.
Because everything you do is out there. But thank you so much for what you do and all the help that you give us with Mobile County Public Schools. It's important work. So thank you so much for joining us for Homeroom. It's been a great show where we've talked about what we're doing to keep your kids safe. We'll see you next time on Homeroom.